Hello everybody, and welcome to another Friday Fun. Today we are doing Regalia of Men and Monarchs, a game that I found a while back, and I've been playing it steadily to try and, figure it out, get some of the gameplay basics down. And I thought that today would be a good time to show it to you guys. Few things before we start though. This game is made by Pixelated Milk. And if you look in the description, there is a link to both their Kickstarter page, which is over, it's been long over, as well as a link to the Steam page for this game. It is currently $25 on Steam, but who knows, with the Halloween Steam sales coming up, it might be discounted then, or it might be discounted by the time you see this video. Who knows? Anyway, this is Redgamemaster, and we are going to be playing Regalia of Men and Monarchs. As you guys can see here, I already have a personal save, but we are going to be starting a new one, just so you guys can see what the story is to start it off. Because I don't know about you guys, but for me, story is a fair bit. I like some comedy in my story, and I like games that do have a good story. It means quite a bit to me. So we are going to be playing on normal mode. Enemies will pull no punches. The game was designed with this difficulty level in mind. For those of, just something I find interesting, just for those of you that prefer story, they do have a story mode. As completing the chapters easier, the objectives will be less taxing. Battles can be optionally skipped, and enemies deal less damage. Select this if you're focused on enjoying the narrative. And of course, for all of you people that love strategy games, which, by the way, this is a strategy game, as you will see before too long. They have a nightmare mode for those that just want a big-time challenge. Although, for me personally, normal is more than enough of a challenge. And there is voice acting in this. English voice acting is part of the Kickstarter as a stretch goal, as well as the full orchestra for the music, which also I think is awesome.
Our story begins in the Rashtil Expanse, where the wind races across empty plain. It is a sad, hostile land, a wild frontier, and a gateway to lands unknown. In ages past, Rashtil had a heart, the city-state of Regalia, ruled by the great house Lauren. Indeed, over centuries, it came to be known as the gem in the realms, earning respect from all races under the sun. But the Crusades changed that. Attracting the ire of its neighbors, Regalia was lost to the flames of war. With its marble bones laid to rest, the city has slept ever since, until now. In a distant country, a father lies on his deathbed. For his entire life, he has kept a secret. Yet now, the truth is finally revealed. His only son, Kay, learns that Regalia belongs to his family, the noble house Lauren. As the sole remaining heir, it is his destiny to face that heritage, to restore the ancestral kingdom. Aided by his two sisters and a trusty bodyguard, young Kay sets out on a journey to the Rashtil Expanse, to Regalia. The legend is about to be retold.
You know what, I should turn up the music so you guys can hear it a bit better. Motivated by his dying father's unexpected last words, our hero ventures out to the Rashtil Expanse, to the kingdom of Regalia, to realize his royal birthright. So yeah, this is just the tutorial, and it's done by your sister. Just gonna skip it because I've already done all that.
Made on the father's dying breath, our hero arrives to fulfill his destiny. For great justice! Wait, but that's not our hero.
feel my legs.
Steel yourself, young master. We're almost at the castle.
Right. This place is a mess. Not quite what I was expecting.
Ah, but surely you aim to restore this place to glory, young master. You are, after all, its rightful ruler.
Well...
What a terrible, terrible dump. Glorious kingdom, my ass. Remind me, whose idea was it to come here again?
Actually, I'm pretty sure both of you insisted.
Come on, sis. Isn't this exciting? It's like we're heroes of a book on an adventure or something.
Well, I suppose we may as well try to salvage something from this terrible misunderstanding of a trip.
Salvage?
Onwards, minions, to the castle. Maybe there's something valuable left at least.
Minions?
So I just want to let you guys know one of the reasons that I'm being quiet during the cutscenes isn't just because I don't want to interrupt them, but also so that you guys can see it. Think of this as kind of a little bit of a preview for the game. 1 hour long trailer or something like that, so you guys can see how things start and get an idea of the kind of gameplay you'll be dealing with if and when you decide to get this game, which I do encourage you to. It's a good game, especially if you're a fan of strategy games. Okay, so free roaming scenes, So we can come over here and talk to Elaine if we wanted. Double click to make them run. Of course, these parts aren't voice acted. Gwen may complain, but she was very keen on coming here too, right? It'll be okay, trust me. Good things are rarely easy. These doors are used to exit the area. And here we can see where everyone is. And of course there's all these different places that we'll be rebuilding and whatnot as time goes on. But for now, we just gotta head to the castle. KO'd characters will not be able to participate in battles. However, visiting a camp node will allow them to rejuvenate. You guys will see that in a bit.
Not much of an improvement.
Ugh, don't remind me. Loot and scoot, boys.
Well, at least she has her priorities straight.
Look, young master, such exquisite pieces of armor.
Aha! No, wait. Rat poop.
I must say, the inhabitants must have had a remarkable grasp on...
What's this, big bro?
Just some tea I found in a pot nearby. Tastes like dust and ashes, but, you know, it's still tea, right?
Wait, what?
Yeah, so our air quotes hero isn't the brightest candle in the chandelier.
You do realize that you just poured stuff from an urn, as in literal ashes.
Sorry.
Shit.
What is the meaning of this intrusion? Who dares?
Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my.
You, the one with a dire need of a haircut. What have you done to my remains?
I gotta admit, the voice actors are really good, especially since they weren't originally planning on having, at least from what I've read on the Patreon, English voice actors, because that was actually a stretch goal.
Well, apparently I have drank them.
This is an outrage! My earth interrupted, my remains defiled. Prepare for severe punishment! Just kidding. How you doing?
is Kay of House Lauren, heir apparent to this revered establishment. Ghost or no, respect is in order.
But
So you're a Lauren, Sonny? Funny story. That would make me your grandfather. Desideratus of House Lauren, at your service. Though I imagine being dead limits my options.
Is this real life?
So, heir apparent, is it? Good for you. Thought you'd be taller. Bulkier. And, you know, smarter. And ashes stuff? Big no-no. Rocky start, by the way. Look. Anyway, since I'm already here, might as well help you get right on track. Fetch me the customer.
Oh, joy.
I don't think there's one left around.
Bullshit, son. We Laurens are proud folk. And this... What the hell happened here? This place is a dump.
At least he agrees, of all people.
Seriously, what have you people done to the castle? Is it that bad? What about the village? This ain't right. This ain't right at all. Oh, you're the heir. You'll be putting all of this back together?
Well, indeed, noble spirit. As we live and breathe, we shall see to it that young master will bring,
Look, I'm sorry about the ashes. And I appreciate the offer. I really do. But we came here looking for a family estate, not ghosts in ruins. Nobody expected this. This is crazy.
You're the heir.
Sorry, this just won't work out.
Namas. Wait, where are you going?
Kay!
Kay.
Wait, you lot! I ain't done with you! Kids these days.
A particularly dumb decision summons the ghost of Kay's grandfather, who then urges Kay to rebuild the kingdom. Overwhelmed by this sudden responsibility, Kay refuses, leaving the castle to collect his thoughts.
Oh, hey guys.
What was that all about?
I needed to collect my thoughts.
Sure looked like a temper tantrum to me.
It's just too much, you know? One day we're heirs to an ancient city. Then it turns out that there's nothing left standing and that the whole errand was pointless. And last but not least, there's a crazy ghost who wants us, me, to rebuild this place as if I'm some sort of king.
You do know you kind of stepped into that one yourself.
So what is your plan, young master?
We're leaving this place.
But
But we're not heroes. We may be of House Lauren, but so what? This place is ancient history, nothing more.
Did someone say House Lauren? Well met. With whom do I have the pleasure?
How rude to demand the name of another before introducing oneself.
Very well. The lady has a point. Walter Crucy. I represent the Furtive Union.
The Furtive Union?
I take it you are not familiar with our organization, then? Speaking concisely, we are men of business. Sometimes we invest, sometimes we lend. But mostly, we reclaim goods deemed impossible to vindicate.
So you're debt collectors.
Correct, more or less. But that still leaves us in the dark over your identity. Or your rather puzzling presence in this godforsaken place. You were not supposed to be here.
Well,
I do not like your tone. This is Kay, heir to House Lauren, inheritor of Regalia, the rightful master of this city. If anyone remains the intruder, it is your entourage, Mr. Crucy.
Is that true? You are the heir, young man.
by the gods, Griffith.
You would doubt our word?
kill two birds with one stone.
Oh?
Regretfully, I have to inform you that your holdings and possessions back home have been confiscated.
What?
What? How the hell?
If you truly are Kay of House Lauren, then by virtue of law, you have also inherited the obligations placed upon this land. Monetary obligations.
Obligations?
In short, your ancestors have left you a rather staggering debt, my lord.
Show me. What? How is that even possible? The zeros need a separate sticker to fit on paper.
I am afraid that for all their prestige and renown, your grandsires appear to have been rather indulgent people, my lord. Shall we proceed with the execution?
But I don't have that kind of money.
That is unfortunate. Also ironic, given their wealth of history here.
I can't believe it. All of this, the whole city, lost because of a debt?
Why, no. It got destroyed during the Crusades. The debt, you see, is an older development.
The Crusades?
But enough angsting over history. Business first. Let me introduce you to my assistants. Mr. Knight, what are you doing?
You will not harm them.
Please, we are civilized people. Punching, albeit enjoyable, would give us little benefit, at least for now. The truth remains, however, that you indeed seem unable to procure funds. Thus, I propose a deal.
A deal?
You are a king right now, young man, of sorts. Your title still has hold and brash till people respect it, and respect is money. I propose you seize what chance you have, rebuild this city of yours, revitalize it.
Is this a trick?
Why would it be? Consider it an investment of trust on our part.
And if I refuse?
You seem to have misunderstood my position, my lord. It is not an if, not a but, not a maybe. Do it, or payment shall be extracted through different means, considerably less pleasurable, if I may add.
Big bro.
I am a reasonable man. We shall split the debts into parts, each to be paid in regular intervals. Would that be acceptable?
You're asking us to do the impossible.
No, we are asking you to do the improbable. But this is a chance now, one surely worth taking. I urge you to act as soon as possible. Time is money, and you cannot afford to waste it, my lord. And this is our cue to leave. The accord has been reached, nothing else remains to be said. Soon, I will contact you through mail. I bid you farewell.
So that's basically how it starts.
Insane.
So that's the main reason why we're sticking around here and trying to do this, because if we don't, it's gonna get bad.
The deadline is approaching. Tick-tock.
Are you alright, big bro?
Give me a minute. Okay.
Hey.
Thoughts?
Isn't it obvious? It's not like we have any other options.
Yeah.
Did they really sell Dad's estate? That's evil.
Does it change anything? Wasn't Master K planning to make his ancestors proud anyway?
Well, technically, you know what? Never mind.
No, go on. How do you feel about this?
I'll be honest with you guys. I don't like this one bit. Aside from the debt thing, whoever or whatever should be doing spring cleaning here, it's not me. Not us. But then comes the debt thing. And we don't really have any choice anymore. hate it. We must. Damn it. This is so depressing.
Annoying, more like. What's the big deal? Can't hurt to try. And you have that alleged grandfather to help as well.
Oh, that's true. I've completely forgotten about him.
I do not expect him to be happy about the debt.
No, he won't be. But that's not going to be the worst part of the conversation. Oh well. To the castle then. Off we go, beg and moan. Yay.
And that is the start. Our distraught hero is visited by the ominous Mr. Crucy, who reveals that Kay's ancestors have accumulated a massive debt over the centuries. The debt collector poses an ultimatum: restore the kingdom to pay off the debt, or perish in agony. His hands seemingly tied, Kay decides to confer with his ghostly grandfather once more.
And that's how it went.
Nasty buggers, them FUs. Looks like you'll be needing my help after all, eh? Ah, funny how it works.
Yes, the irony is not lost on us.
Just tell me what to do.
Let me see. A king ain't a king with no people to lord over, yeah? So that's the first thing. Get someone to move here. Any pair of hands would be a resource right now. Also, perhaps it'd be worth looking into that whole debt business, you know?
What do you mean?
That loan shark ain't exactly what I'd call the most trustworthy person around. What you got was scraps. We need facts, writs, documents, the whole story, my boy. Only a sentimental dead sod. I can't imagine my kiddos ruining the kingdom over money.
Crucy mentioned wars. Crusades.
There you go. Something worth looking into, Oh, and Sonny, you're not alone. Those sisters of yours, that stern-looking chap, you're all house nobles. Do not try to think everything through by yourself. You have four heads. Use them.
And there's you.
Oh, right. About that. I'm hopping in.
Huh?
Me, boy. Like it or not, technically, I'm inside you now.
Ew.
This means our fates are tied for now. And believe me, you'll need me. Oh, yes. In other words, you'll be lugging me around wherever you go.
Oh, gods.
You shouldn't have done what you did, dude.
Just kidding, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. My spirit is bound to these walls, slightly for good. Bloody shame that. I would love to see how the world's changed over all these centuries.
What was it like back then, Grandpa?
Probably nicer if you don't count the gnomes. I'll tell you some other time.
Cool.
The gnomes. But the gnomes are still around.
They are? I knew it. These besetting midgets. They don't spray you faster than a gambler with a stacked deck. Great.
Irritating and bipolar, I see.
When?
Now, I may be a racist old codger who has mixed feelings about them gnomes. They know their stuff. You do need their stuff.
Which is?
Surely you've heard. Pretty much everything they touch turns to gold. You need gold, you know. You're gonna need trade routes. They're born tradesmen, sonny. If anyone can help you make the coin flow again, it's them. As much as it cramps my spectral butt to say so.
I see. Right. Time to get to work.
Oh, dang it.
Anything, sonny. Have you, taken a good look around? Castle's a mess. Unless you want to be king for dust mites, I'd suggest the four of you grab a mop and declutter it.
No way in hell I'm going to clean.
I'm allergic to dust.
Gee, thanks, guys.
With no alternatives in sight, the family resolves to restore Regalia, if only to get rid of Crucy. Following the grandfather's suggestion, Kay and Griffith descend into the castle's less than charming rooms to do some spring cleaning. Oh, exactly what will we be cleaning? Oh, you know, simple things. Spiderwebs, rubble, dust mites. Whoa. By the gods, this one's huge and ugly. Perhaps it is the brood mother of those things. I wonder if it flies.
Oh, for the love of...
Are we really talking about this right now? Just hit it. Hit it. Ambush. Our heroes are attacked by the skittering denizens of the castle. So yeah, now we're actually getting into the combat. And once we're in, I'll pause it so I can turn up the music for you guys. Because like I said, they have a full orchestra, so the music is good. Hallway beneath the castle. Main objectives: defeat all enemies. Yeah, I know. There we go. So we can put these guys anywhere in the blue. Now I know some of their skills, so I'm going to put him there and him there. There's also, of course, an auto deploy. Yeah, I know. I got it. Hold on. Let me see if I can turn those off. Alright, so each hero has a passive skill. This is what his is. Battle Tide. Generate 1 stack of Battle Tide whenever K uses a skill. At 3 stacks, all stacks are consumed, granting either Empowered, Evasion, Aegis, or Fleet, chosen randomly, to a random ally for 2 turns. So every time he uses one of these skills, he's good. This here is an ultimate. As you guys can see up here in the top left, we have authority points. 30 points can be used in a few different ways. Some of the main ones is this blitz. By spending 1 point, we basically can use a second skill. We can't add anything to our movement, but we can use an extra skill. For 2 of those authority points, we can use what's essentially our ultimate, a very powerful one. Now, Griffith here is going to be our main fighter, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to use Command, which gives him 20% of his maximum shields. Also, we can use it on an enemy, and it will have them marked for 2 turns. And it tells you right down here at the bottom what the second one means. If any skills performed on the target have a 100% hit chance. So we're going to use it on him to give him armor. And as you guys just saw, we got 1 Battle Tide. K is pretty good, but K is, well, he's more of a support than anything else. Alright, we're going to put him there. And we're going to end his turn. Now all of the enemies get a chance to move. Okay. I just realized sound effects is too high. There we go. Okay. So Griffith has combat expertise. Grants 3 movement points whenever Griffith defeats an enemy. So basically he gets 3, he can move 3 more spaces whenever he manages to kill someone. So what we're going to use is we're going to go back 1 space and we're going to use dynamic entry. It does 70% of base damage, but we get an extra 10% per each tile moved through. If it is an ally, applies fleet for 2 turns and removes all negative ongoing effects. So basically we can choose to hit an ally with this, and instead of hurting them, it does a thing. As you guys can see there, it gives us estimated damage and hit chance. So we have an 80% chance to hit this guy. There we go, and he's almost dead in 1 hit. Now if we wanted, which... yeah. Let's use one of our authority points and get pinpoint strike. Still only 80%. It takes him out. And now we'll end his turn. So as you guys saw there, Kay took actual health damage, whereas Griffith took armor damage. And that's pretty much how it works. All damage has to go through armor first. Okay, we're going to use this, place that down there. And it should end when Griffith's turn comes up. He should get inspired, which means he'll get bonus damage.
At your side.
There we go, empowered. Base damage reduced by 25%. But he's empowered, so weapon damage is increased by 25%. Now, we're going to use one of his... Now, we're going to go around here. From what I've seen, there doesn't seem to be any kind of bonus for back attacks. I'm going to use Crescent Strike. So, you got also one other thing you have to pay attention to is that this one deals ice damage to all of its targets. And as one other thing, it generates 10% of his total shields for each enemy hit. And it hits in a crescent, just like that. You do have to be careful because you can hit allies with these kind of attacks. So there you go. And see, he got an extra 20% of his total shields. All right, we're gonna end it there. So after the mama goes, now it's our turn, and we have 2 authority points. So, if we wanted to, we could use Kay's ultimate right here, which is grants 70% of maximum shields to target ally and lowers all their cooldowns by 1. So I am going to use that on Griffith. So it's going to use up both of those, grant him a huge amount of shields. Do that. And there's nothing more we can do. So now we skip. Or end, I guess. Alright. Your mother was a hamster. As you guys can probably see, they all have little sayings on them. When life closes the door, breach the wall. Everything except for their basic attack. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Bolsterous Strike. Eh. Alright, I'm going to go move him here. Just so you guys know, as long as you haven't used a skill, you can use this undo move to send them right back. Now I do that, and he can run in. Takes that guy out. That's one more enemy for us. That's one less enemy for us to deal with. So yeah, as I said, K is more. You can pretty much tell what a character is supposed to be used for based on the skill in their queue, in the queue section, because that'll give you a good idea. So we're gonna boost. Oh, can't do that because he's not within line of sight. All right, let's go here.
Strike
Now a little tip: if you hold down L, see every one of those crossed out eyes. That is something that blocks line of sight. So for instance, I couldn't boost if K had enough range. I couldn't have, and we had another person. I couldn't boost anyone that's behind K. Sorry, that's behind. Dang it, it's behind Griffith. I couldn't boost anyone behind them because Griffith's in the way. All right, and I'm gonna leave it at that. All right. Yeah, provided it hits, that'll take him out. There we go.
Well fought.
And she's actually getting hurt from us hurting her babies. Okay. I'm gonna move you right here so that she focuses in on you, Griffith. Or I thought. Alright, we're gonna move K up. Once again, we're gonna boost Griffith. turn. Now, we're going to use his finishing touch. Deals 190% of base damage as pure damage to a target enemy. Deals additional 100 base damage as physical if the target is below 40% health, and applies weaken for 2 turns. One thing I actually want to show you, and why these elements can mean so much, is because if we come here, we can see there's physical, fire, ice, thunder, and then all of these. So this guy is actually weakest to physical. Yeah, because he has a 30% resistance to that. Next one down is fire, then physical resistance. And you can also come here and see what their skills are. So these skills are, stuff on the left is the skills they can use. Stuff on the right is the effect. So large halves damage received from any source lingering on a battlefield. Any sources lingering on a battlefield. Prevents the owner from being affected by any position changing abilities. So because this rat is so big, it can't be pushed, even if we had a character that could do that. And additionally, if there was, say, fire on the ground, because we had someone that cast it, that basically lit the ground on fire, or we had a grenade or some kind of potion or something that caused that, this thing would only take half of the damage that it normally would. But because it's so big, it can cover multiple tiles, and I believe it takes damage from each individual tile. The last one is my babies. Whenever a Radic is defeated, the broodmother loses 200 health points, which we've already seen. So even without us hurting her, because we took out, what was it, three of the little Radics, she's almost dead already. All right, let's use finishing touch. There we go.
On to the next one.
And there's the experience. You know, I'll show you guys that in a little bit. Let's go through this.
What is this place? An armory? Well, I think you should look at this, sire. Sire? Sire.
What? Okay, coming. What did you find? Wait, a sketch of House Lauren's family tree? That's exactly what we need. Oh, but it's incomplete. Damaged.
It's a start, no?
What do you mean?
Look at it as one looks at a foundation. With this, you get a tangible base to build upon. Questions to answer. People to look for. Names to check. A direction, so to speak. Which is exactly what we need right now. I am sure that eventually we will be able to fill the blanks ourselves.
You're right. Let's show this to the girls, Griffith.
Agreed. And as unenthusiastic as they were, let us hope they have cleaned up the main hall.
I'm sure Grandfather would nag them to death otherwise. Oh, by the way, before we go... This seems out of place.
Indeed, it does not resemble any of the other armors around the castle.
Thoughts?
It seems Lord Amarian in origin. Some symbols everywhere, plenty of ornamentations, highly impractical, perhaps used for ceremonial reasons. You know, honestly, it is hard to tell sometimes. Lord Amar's knights like it's gone.
Lordamar? The kingdom of Lordamar to the east? Militant sun worshippers?
The very same, yes.
Why would a Lamarian armor be locked in here? We're in Rashtil. That's far, far away.
A gift from a king, perhaps.
Could be. Think we should do something with it?
If it doesn't involve Lady Gwen pawning it off for money, then yes.
I was thinking more along the lines of main hall decoration. Moving it somewhere more presentable.
I do not see why not.
All right. Up to it.
Sometimes I think you and your sisters are more alike than you imagine, young master.
After stumbling upon the castle armory, our heroes retrieve an incomplete family tree of House Lauren. While the information it presents is scarce, it gives them a solid base to start their inquiry into what exactly happened to Ascalia. Additionally, it appears that someone, somehow, has left behind a suspicious suit of golden armor.
Didn't really clean much, but we found this.
What's that?
Looks like a family tree. Our family tree, I assume.
Yeah,
The same one that's on the wall right there.
You know, this may actually be useful. We're going to need stuff like this if we want to get to the bottom of this debt business.
our thoughts exactly.
But it's more than that. Can't be narrow-minded in this, boy. It's not just about who borrowed what, you know? If you want to be a king, you need legitimacy. And that means history, lineage, solid facts, everything that constitutes rulership. You may frown upon this, Sonny, but there are folks who buy into this more than they buy into money. It's a chunk of knowledge that will help you in the long run.
I agree. If we are to be nobility, we need the bearings of nobility. And if it helps us on more than one front, all the better.
I can't be running around dusting off chronicles. There are things to do right here, right now.
You're not alone in this, big bro. Remember?
Let me handle the boring ancestry stuff. I'll be digging into documents and family affairs while you do your thing, which I assume will involve whacking uglies.
What about me?
What about you?
I want to help too.
How about no?
I think that's an excellent idea. I'd appreciate it if you two would work on this together.
Are you serious?
You heard him.
Oh, come on, sis. Why the long face? It's going to be fun.
Also, I bet your duties will take you all over Rashtil, Sonny. Methinks you should also ask the nice ladies over here to look after the city while you're away. All in all, you're in this together, as a family.
So are you, old fart?
Oh, but I'm dead already.
Can I trust you with this then?
Leave it to us.
What about you, Griffith?
You know my answer. I swore an oath on your father's dying breath that I would not leave your side. I shall follow you in the field should you call me to do so.
Very well. What's our next step?
I may have a thing, Kay. While you guys were gone, I took a sightseeing trip around the city. Turns out there are still some people living in the area.
Really?
Yep, there's an inn near the crossroads not far away from the gates. I saw light coming from inside, so they're most likely still in business. Here, big bro, I'll show you on the map.
Oh, that's excellent news. If anything, you should go and introduce yourself. You're going to be their ruler.
Mainly with peasants. What exactly will this accomplish?
Now, young lady, a king is nothing without his subjects. Any fool may claim a pile of rubble, but without people, you're just an empty title. Or a tyrant. No, my boy, one cannot rule in a vacuum. You need to be a person. Their person, not just a face on the throne. You may obtain riches and inherit lands, but in the end, true wealth lies in the hearts and minds of your people. You are only as powerful as the respect you command. Never forget this.
Respect of my people.
At last, the patriarch speaks my language. Duty, service, loyalty. We shall forge bonds everlasting. This I swear.
Yeah. What do you say? All right, I'm off to the inn. Griffith?
At your side.
Let's go then.
So now things are really picking up. An agreement is made. Kay and Griffith will handle any issues involving the adventuring away team, while Gwen and Ellie will look deeper into the family's past and tackle day-to-day administration. First things first, however, it turns out someone's still living in the city's inn. So a new place has opened up. The Placeholder Inn. That's one of the things that you could just imagine that's what they called it while they were working on the game, and they just thought it was a good one, so they never changed it. I love it.
This is the place, young master.
Welcome to the placeholder. Can I get you something?
Hello.
Well met. We would like to speak with the esteemed owner of this fine establishment. Post haste.
You're weird. Mister, why does your friend speak like a weirdo?
Gods, Griffith, you just can't reel it in, can you? I'm sorry, we don't want anything. Thanks. Can we speak with the owner?
Sure. What do you need?
Wait, I think I'm not getting through. The owner, as in the guy who owns this place?
Yep.
And that's you?
Yep.
But you're like, what, 12?
Yep.
All right, Griffith, you win. Lend me a hand here.
You're the owner, then.
Are you guys slow or something?
What about that menacing gentleman behind the counter?
Him? That's my dad. He works here. And Co owns the place, I guess.
Aha! Thank you. That's what we wanted to hear.
Weirdos.
Greetings.
He's big.
Are you the owner of this inn? I am Kay of House Lauren. I wanted to inform you that the rebuilding, please stop staring at me like that. You're freaking me out. So, weather's nice, yes? Come on, give me something to work with. Pretty please? Oh, for the love of...
You don't answer, you know.
What?
Baz never speaks.
What do you mean he never speaks? He can't speak?
Dunno. Haven't ever heard him utter a word.
How does he manage to run a tavern?
That girl over there, Ilka, his daughter. She is a snap for all it's worth.
I noticed he's a little... intense.
Yeah, that's Baz. Scaring the crap out of people, one customer at a time.
And you are?
Sheik Chirochi. You're just Sheik. I used to fight in the war, and that's where I met Baz.
Which war?
Does it really matter? Well, we're veterans, good sirs. Spending our retirement running an inn? The ass end of nowhere.
Are you also an owner?
No. Yeah, I like to think of myself as a permanent guest who doesn't pay for his drinks. and sometimes sleeps in the basement.
So, you're a bum.
Hey, some of us quit the war with dignity. Me, I got a hole in my wallet. Also gonorrhea.
I see.
Yeah, they don't really hold much back.
That the inn doesn't get many visitors.
Nope. Supposedly, once upon a time, these crossroads were an oft-traveled trade route. That castle over yonder, heart of a sky, the jewel of Rashitude. Wah, wah, wah. Long gone now, only roaches and rubble.
I'm Kay of House Lauren. Ascalia once belonged to my family.
Yeah, indeed. You're here to fix things a bit, boy?
More or less, yes.
Hear that, Baz? We got a king over here. This will flow again. Well, that's nice and all, but I'm afraid you'll be having some problems getting people to settle.
How so?
It's because of the beast! They're afraid of the beast!
What manner of beast are you talking about, young lady?
They say it's got 3 heads, and its eyes are like fire, and it shoots acid out of its rear.
No one knows.
There's something you're not telling me?
But it's true. Something stalks the woods, gutting loud. People are afraid of it. They say they can feel its eyes on their necks as they travel through the forest. Hell, I've heard that even elves steer clear of these parts.
Yeah, yes.
Nobody has ever actually seen this beast.
sounds like a myth, no?
Indeed.
Yeah, well, myth or not, it's here. Besides, you're the top dog around here now, laddie. If anybody should be worried about this,
Sounds great. I'll talk to you next week. Have a good weekend.
Will you be slaying the beast, good sirs?
Indeed we will. If it truly exists, we shall restlessly scour the land until we manage to plant a sword in its squishy yet monstrous forehead.
Because you're asleep. You're lying.
Oh, Griffith.
I'm so excited. You come by later and tell us how it went? How the love stories. Right, Papa?
On my honor.
well then, good luck, laddie. Let me
Cool, sounds good. I'll talk to you later.
I'll be bringing in monkey blood for your...
Now wait a minute.
Good news. It's not a complete ghost town. Bad news. A terrifying creature known as the Beast draws new people away. Though guided largely by hearsay and rumor, Kay resolves to find and put an end to this beast. So, this is how we go out on adventures. Head back to the castle. Beware the line of sight. You cannot kill what you can't see. Then we go up here. As you guys can see, there's quite a few people that can join us. Although I do want to point out, we can't. No, we can't do that yet. Basically, 4 of these people are locked. You can only get 2 out of the 4, and it all depends on the choices you make fairly later on in the game. I actually haven't gotten to that point yet. I think it's basically these last 4 down here on the bottom row. I think you have to choose them. I know that these first 5 right here you can get without a problem. They're part of the main story. So these are all of basically the dungeons. From what I've seen so far, you can only go to them once, which seems a little odd, but maybe that changes later on, because each one of these is tied to a task. So maybe once you've completed all those tasks, you can go and visit them anytime you want. You should be careful. For instance, if I go here, you can see that you can kind of get an idea of what it is. Unassuming Glade. Costs 3 days to explore, and yes, you do have to manage your days because you're trying to make sure that you pay back that guy, and that means, you know, paying on time. You only have a certain number of days in between each one to use, and you have to make sure that you complete enough tasks and whatnot, which I will show you guys in a bit, that you get it done. I'll explain to you guys what those other 3 symbols mean as we come to them. So it takes 1 day to travel from the city to, I think, any place here. And then once we actually go in, it says right down there next to the left of the name of the area, how many days it takes to explore it. Unassuming Glade, days to explore, 3. So these are the different nodes that we have to go through. Swords means it's a basic combat. This means that it's a conversation, and this means that it's a text story, basically, which we will get in. I will show you each. So I can show you each one of these. So we'll enter that combat node. Now, normally these combat nodes don't have story, but since this is part of the opening tutorial / story bit, there is obviously going to be story in this.
So what exactly are we doing here, Griffith?
Looking for the beast.
And why are we doing this?
To end its reign of terror and bring peace to the land.
And what are our chances of the supposed beast appearing?
Well, since we are in fact chatting casually in the middle of a seemingly lifeless forest, given the laws of narrative probability, I would say... It happens now! Get ready, young master!
What the hell? beast, Griffith?
No, there's no way.
You were saying?
On second thought.
You know, I never noticed, but those bear claws, they're actually like... If you've ever played a rogue in a RPG, it's not always daggers. Sometimes there's like claws and whatnot. That's basically what those bear claws are. I never noticed. I thought that they were like gloves that her hands were in, or like sleeves or whatnot. Interesting. All right. So once again, we are setting up our guys. Before I do that, why don't I show you? So this is auto deployment, and it's kind of just random where it puts them. So I'm going to do that, put him down, put him over here behind that. Now we don't have to worry about protecting anyone in particular. So we don't have to worry about protecting anyone in particular in our party, as long as at least one person survives and we hit the requirements, which are different. It's not just beat all the enemies. There are some that's hold out for 5 turns, which by the way, turn counters at the bottom right. Other times it's kill these 5 specific enemies in this group of 8, which can be a bit difficult. All right, so we're going to use command to boost Griffith, and we'll end that. Then we'll use dynamic entry, which misses. Dang.
Skillful.
Alright, and we're going to use Crescent Strike. There we go. To deal a bit of damage. And of course I used an authority point for that. Didn't save it up. But we do need to be careful because she's faster than all of our guys. So there's only so much that we can do. Excuse me. Or bless me, I guess. Excuse me, whatever. Alright, more armor. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to place that down there. It blocks his line of sight, but I'm going to move him over here because now she's kind of blocked and she's going to try and focus him down. Additionally, if we look, so she has no physical resistance, so hitting her with physical attacks is our best, but fire, ice, and thunder, she's not going to take as much damage. She has Enrage and Whirlwind, which we've seen her use, and Pounce, which lets her leap through the air, ignoring obstacles which do not block line of sight. Deals 60% of base damage as physical to targets adjacent to the landing zone. And finally, she has Bloodlust, which increases all damage done by 5% whenever a combatant is defeated. So she doesn't even have to beat the combatant. Just an enemy has to die. Alright, so we're going to use Boisterous Challenge. So the blinded, if we take a look, should be... Blinded decreases chance to hit with all skills by 25, and Taunted means that they're forced to means that she's forced to attack him. So now we're going to skip a turn again. There we go. Alright, moving you over here. Oop, come on. There we go. Sometimes I move the mouse away too fast. Not to say that there's anything actually wrong with the game, it's just that's kind of how it is. Alright, so Pinpoint Strike her, because it's the only skill we have to use. Sundered. So let's take a look at what that means. So Sundered means that all resistances are reduced by 30%. So she now has no resistances. And that is going to stick around for 2 turns. After her next turn, the blind is going to be gone as well.
Leave this to me.
Alright. Gonna use that again to give him more armor. Skip his turn, and we're gonna use Finishing Touch. because that should be less than 40%. There we go.
We are not done yet.
Now let's finish the battle. So yeah, each character has a unique passive ability that dictates their playstyle. Be sure to keep that in mind as you're playing your moves.
The fabled beast appears to have slowed down.
Meant to say this before, but yeah, the whole keeping an eye on their passive, on remembering what enemies, what characters have what passive is a big thing. I can't tell you how many times I have lost a battle and had to go back to a previous save because I forgot that, oh yeah, K is 90% buffing allies. And Griffith is a tank. If you use them otherwise, you're not going to make it very long.
Doesn't look like a bandit, or a beast for that matter. Why would she be terrorizing the locals?
I do not think we can expect civil reasoning from her side. I would suggest caution in your attempt to communicate.
You win.
You speak!
There are no words between predator and prey, yes? In defeat, our roles are reversed. If words are shared, it shall be so, by your choosing.
What?
Are you the beast that stalks Rashtil?
Rashtil? Such a name is unknown to me.
I love her design. It's actually really cool. And she still looks tough as nails.
You speak of names that impose boundaries, but these are not mine. We share a sky, but the boundary is not mine. The mark is not mine. The territory is not mine.
I understood nothing.
Neither did I.
Hacks, tribes, kin, rights. The Kelra way, our way, my way. To overcome enemies, we become beasts in spirit.
I guess that explains the outburst. Sort of.
There is strength in such bonds, as in all bonds born out of respect. We take only what is given and never force our way.
I still cannot make heads or tails of what you're saying.
The beast chooses the man, and the man accepts the beast. But it is a process, not an act. Something to claw and strive for. For many days and many nights, many moons that come and go. But the exact count is meaningless. One cannot return without finding the right beast.
So unless I'm getting utterly confounded here, you're saying you're searching for your beast.
Yes,
And this search brought you here.
just so.
I have never heard about this tribe of yours, these Kelra.
The turtle and the eagle both share a sky. But though the turtle wonders about the clouds, he will never take flight, yes?
Huh?
It is a color unknown to your kind, much as yours is unknown to mine.
Is she really the same girl who just tried to rip our throats out? But anyway, what does all of this mean? I am sorry, but I can't allow you to run around the woods anymore. I am a lord of sorts of these lands, and I could really use some popular support. You aren't helping, you know. You need to leave.
Then we are at odds. But as the victor, you are within rights to request so. If that is your will.
What would happen if you were to abandon your right and go back home?
My siblings would devour me whole.
Figuratively speaking?
No.
Young master?
I know what you're about to ask me, Griffith, and I'm not sure I'll like it.
Come now. We all follow our oaths. And hers seems to be of great import. To her, at the very least.
Well, we're in the middle of something ourselves, remember? You asked me to put her own good above ours.
No. I am asking you to be the man your father thought you would always be.
Which is...
The better man. Sire.
Damn you, Griffith. What if we made a deal?
The predator does not barter with prey.
He does not want you to be his prey. He wants you to be his partner.
Your lion speaks, yet confuses. Elaborate.
Lion?
Come with us. We'll give you shelter and resources, and hopefully it'll help you find your beast.
A cage of wood and stone yields no answers.
That may be so, but you won't have to stay in one. As a member of my retinue, I expect people to honor your special outdoor privileges. And, small eccentricities. Emphasis on small.
No doubt you would price this favor in my strength, yes? What for?
You heard it yourself. We need all the hands we can get to rebuild the city. I'm sure Master K would be very pleased with such a capable warrior as yourself.
I see. Then the boon is granted, and so I will join your pack. I shall follow the duckling and the lion so that together we may fulfill our oaths.
Duckling? Really? Why do I get a duckling while you get to be a lion?
I have absolutely no idea.
Now, the girls. I have a feeling this will take a long, long while to explain to Gwen.
In a surprising turn of events, the beast of Rashtil turns out to be a ferocious young woman named Signy. After a confusing attempt to communicate, Signy agrees to aid Kay in exchange for her help with her trials, or rather her search for a totemic animal. With the matter of the beast resolved, it is time to report back to the grandfather. Alright, before we continue, I do want to point out that yes, I know I'm going long. I just want to make sure that I show you guys a good portion of the base of this game. This is a long game, so even if I were to go for 3 hours straight, I'd barely be scratching the surface for you guys, but I do want to give you guys a general idea of everything. Just going to get rid of these. Cloistered cups that... Oh, wait, that's right. Right? Yeah, okay, so this is a campsite. So, when you're out, you can only save at these campsites. See? You can't save anywhere else unless you're in the city. If you rest, this is how you basically revive fallen party members. But each campsite can only be used once for this. So, be sure that you use it right. Additionally, there's little conversations. If you come over and talk to people that have these little speech things above their heads, it means you can do a little conversation and get to know them better. You are aware of your fearsome reputation in these parts, I assume. My pilgrimage brought no harm upon your kin. A Kelra pursues revelation, not slaughter. Perhaps. I do not intend to question that. The fact remains, however, that some have already denounced you as a local menace. Some may even come after you. Let them come. It matters not. Theirs are but words, empty and without sting, like a buzz of a bumblebee. Let them come. Let's see. And then we have 3 choices. Now, basically the way this works is every NPC that is in the city and all the people that go with you out, they have their own, obviously their own personalities and everything, their own likes, their own wants, their own desires. And depending on what you say and how you interact with them, they will like you more or less, and most of the time more. But there are some options that are just straight up better. For instance, you might want to say Griffith is right. You might not want to say that just because of the kind of person she is. After all, she says you're in her pack, so thinking like a pack of animals, it's better to fight them together than to just say, yeah, be careful. And we don't want to say we'll do it when we get to it. So if you keep an eye above her head... Oh, I guess that didn't pop up right now. I hope you guys did hear the ding, though. That means that something went up. Just so. There is strength in unity. The duckling is wise to acknowledge that. For now, let us continue our journey, yes? My nose. And so then you just go back to dungeon when you're done. And you can come back to these nodes whenever you want. Some of the dungeons have very complex ones where multiple nodes interlocked with multiple other nodes. So long as you've unlocked a path to a node, you can go back to that node anytime you want. But I don't think, for instance, you can't go back to a combat node and do the combat there again for extra experience or whatnot. Once a node's completed, it's completed. The only ones you can go back into are these. Our campsite nodes. So, time for the little text adventure story thingy I was talking about. In search of the beast. You're about to exit the woods when suddenly Signy gestures at you to wait. Something's not right. What's wrong, Signy? Men around. The scent is clear. We are being followed. I don't see anyone. Before you can finish your sentence, with the timing so impeccable that it would border on comedic, a hatchet flies by your head, sinking its blade into the nearest tree trunk. Men of somewhat questionable looks emerge from the greenery surrounding your small party. Their leader, a broad-shouldered brute with the charm of a burlap sack, proceeds to clap in obvious mockery. The man whistles and laughs, earning a low snarl from Signy. The famous beast of Rashtil. Who would have guessed? For someone so fun-sized, you have a pretty hefty reputation. Hell, it's a wonder you ain't a dragon. So once again, we have 3 options. What do you want? This is going to end badly, isn't it? And I'm Kay of House Lauren. I command you to stand down. I don't want to pick the last one because, well, there really isn't anyone that cares about that anymore. The kingdom is pretty much destroyed, so there isn't that. I can say this is going to end badly, but that might be a little bit weak sounding. You know what? Let's give I'm Kay of House Lauren. I command you to stand down a try. Oh, but of course, Your Highness. He offers a sarcastic bow. In case you haven't noticed, this ain't your playground anymore. Rashtil needs no stinking noble. Leave the girl and scram. So, we already know what he wants from her. Or we should by this point. We can ask that, and basically he just says, local people consider her a menace. They've put out a bounty on her. I'm here to collect it. By taking her head. So, let's keep going down. You want her? You have to go through me. He draws his weapon and motions at his henchmen. Good, because that's the plan. Bring me the girl, fellas. Now, sometimes you can get around these things. There's other times where, for instance, like this, since it's mainly part of the story, you kind of can't. So, main objective, defeat all the enemies. And then down here we have the 2 challenges. We get bonus items if we complete these challenges, as well as experience. Something I probably should tell you guys now. Experience is added to the party as a whole. So even if you go out and you do a whole bunch of leveling up with 3 people, and then later on you get 2 more people and decide, hey, I want to bring these people with me, they're not going to be any weaker than anyone else. Because the experience is applied to the party as a whole, not individual characters. So you don't have to worry about over-leveling certain characters and then having to power level others. So, first challenge is win the battle in 7 turns. Challenge 2, defeat 2 enemies with a single ability. Which we can do. We have 2 characters that have at least 1 multi-hit attack. So now we can figure out where we're going to put our guys. First, though, let's take a look. So this doesn't block line of sight. That do. But that one also doesn't. Alright, let's see. I'm going to put you over here. I want you right in there. And I'll put you right there.
We move now, yes?
Okay, so yeah, see, she's really fast, so she actually gets to go before everyone else. So here are her abilities. Pounce is her basic one. As I didn't mention it before, but basic attacks always have a 0 turn cooldown. So if you have enough authority points, which you can use Blitz as many times as you have authority points to spend. And some characters make really good use of that with their passives. So that's usually sometimes it can be good to save up 5 authority points, for instance. Yeah, because 5 is the max that you can have. And spend them all on just blitzing it with 1 character, because sometimes their basic attack that has a 0 turn cooldown has can put things on an enemy that can boost a specific type of attack, and usually that attack has that same element that's being boosted, so it can be incredibly powerful. All right, so we also have Savage Roar, which deals base damage to all enemies in the area, so within 2 things. But of course, if we use this right now, Griffith would get hit. Enrage, which empowers her and makes her faster. Whirlwind, which hits all enemies within a set area around her, applies thunder damage. And her Pounce. Let's take a look at some of these guys first. Okay, so he has no physical resistance. He can parry, which ignores both damage and negative effects of the first skill to hit. Expires immediately after use. An Arcane Ward. Begin every combat with parry. Ugh. So he has Brilliant Dodge. User switches locations with the enemy target. Any large targets will receive 100% base damage as physical instead. And his Baleful Bolt. So yeah, and so I don't think they can actually get authority points. Let's see. And him, pretty basic resistances all around. He does have 5% physical. And Dirty Fighting. All skills have a 10% chance to apply stun to the enemy for 1 turn. Alright, let's get to this. Alright, set up the move. Come here. No, Pounce. So see, those are the highlighted areas are the ones that she would hit. So that's not going to do anything. Let's use Enrage. And Enrage sticks around. Okay, yeah, the effects of that stick around for 2 turns. I don't want her going out there just yet, so I'm going to hold off. Now all the basic thugs get to move. I forgot to check their abilities, but I think it's just a basic hit.
Leave this to me.
Alright, and I'll put that there. Oh, I shouldn't have. Oh well, I already used the skill.
Let us strike.
Yeah, see, you have to have a target in order to use that. Okay, so then we're going to move him up. Oh, wait. How far does... Okay, yeah, that reaches pretty darn far. Okay, so see, I made a mistake there. Because that would have blocked that would have blocked Signy off. She would have to pounce, and thus probably wouldn't be able to get around him if needed. You know, let's do it anyway. Then we'll use Boisterous Challenge on this guy.
Not enough mana. Oh, wait.
So see, he just used all of his abilities. So now he's close. Let's see. Massacre is a great one. Basically, as it says there, she hits 4 random enemies, but it's any enemy in that entire area. Does man become wild if all rationality is taken away from him? Alright, let's move you here. And we'll use Whirlwind. Alright, so see now parry is gone, I believe. Alright, let's hope that they move around him. Yes! Alright, he'll be able to hit them with Crescent. Although he's going to take a bit of damage, dang it. There we go. Alright. You know, I'm going to move you right over here. Because he's going to take quite a bit of a beating.
The time is now.
Alright, so now we can use Crescent and hit all 3 of these guys. And remember, if we use Crescent, provided he hits all 3 of them, he's going to get 10% of his total shields for each enemy that he hits. So it's an 80% chance on each. And if he hits all 3... he hit 2, so we got 20%. Still, though, good one. Ah, dang, she's hurting. Okay, we have 3. Alright, I'm gonna have her... she can't. Let's see. Yes! She can pounce from there. And then I'll use 1 to activate Blitz. And then use 2 more to use Massacre. There we go. We even took out 2 guys. And broke his shield. Awesome. There we go. And his shield kept him from taking any more health damage. Yeah, he can't use that on himself. Alright, he should be able to use Boisterous Challenge next turn. His next turn, maybe. Yeah. Alright, boost her.
Take this.
He can't. Alright, let's go here. And then use Dynamic Entry on this guy. There we go, he's almost dead. Alright, well, okay, either you're gonna get hit. Oh, nope. Okay, good thing we gave her that armor.
Yes, yes.
Alright, let's do that. The guy that she could have killed didn't get hit. Gosh dang it. Alright, let's use that, because pounces are basic, so she can use that as many times in a single turn. There we go, both of them down, baby. Alright, get in front of him. And end activation. Because, yeah, see, we took out all the little guys, so now our guys all get to go in a row. Oh, I hit the wrong button, gosh dang it. Alright, you move over here. Gonna use basic attack, pinpoint strike. Yeah. Dang it.
Yes, yes.
Alright, pounce. Then I'm gonna have you back up a little bit.
Here we go.
Alright, give him armor. I want to make sure that he doesn't go after her. So I've got to use Boisterous Challenge. There we go.
This hurts you.
There we go.
We move now, yes?
If I move you here, we can use Whirlwind without hurting our ally. There we go. So we got Dalk DLC, which is the currency. Got 9 gemstones and 17 components. These are all used for crafting and building. And we got some flashy goggles. Indispensable when working on volatile machinery, which increases our thunder resistance. Some abilities cannot miss, ever. Use that against particularly nimble enemies. The battle is won, and you are free to leave the forest. Without a doubt, your sisters will want to hear about the whole ordeal. So we got an extra 50 experience, and we got 35 reputation points with Signy. And that's the dungeon finished. Meanwhile, back in town. So yeah, these are the gnomes that Grandpa was talking about. I'm sure they were going for it, but I'm getting a merchant from Aladdin vibe here.
Why can't a man make a decent profit anymore? Not that I'm complaining. Maybe the castle will be more fruitful.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Mighty fine weather for a stroll. Am I right?
Yep. Are you here for a walk too?
No, not precisely. I am on a walk, yes, but it is a different kind of walk. A gilded walk of spreading joy and awe to all whom I may encounter. I am Hatsun ibn al-Andorra, purveyor of goods most wonderful, wandering merchant supreme, and most certainly not one of those street peddlers who would shank you for a stray copper.
Oh, then you must have come to see my brother.
I'm afraid your meaning eludes me. But if you'd pardon me asking, what is a nice young lady like yourself doing in a place like this?
I live here.
You live here? As in, here?
I know. I'm sorry about the mess, but it's a recent thing. My brother just became the lord of that castle. See? Over there.
Oh, is that so? Well, things just got very, very interesting. Perhaps there is good money to be made here, after all. This is a most fortuitous development. I would be delighted to exchange goods with your brother. That is, with your permission, my fair lady.
But of course! I'm sure he'll be overjoyed to have you.
Ah, splendid! Well then, all that remains is a handshake to cement our joyous agreement. Am I right? Shall we?
So yeah, he becomes the town merchant. You do have to build a store for him, but, you know, little thing. Alright, so now we spend a day getting back to town. Alright, and now let's head into the castle. We're going to be wrapping this up soon, everyone, but I want to take care of a few things. And this is what happened.
Oh, joy.
Please don't make a habit out of collecting half-naked women in our castle. She needed our help, that, and she may yet turn out to be useful. Oh, here, this youngster speaks the truth. You shouldn't shun such occasions, dear boy. There are many more to come, and you need to make the best of it. What do you mean? As you grow in prestige, powerful individuals may cling to your presence. You would be wise to include them in your inner circle. Temper their trust into an asset, and you will surpass every obstacle. What now, grandfather? One way or another, you seem to have grasp the basics of what it means to be a ruler. The long journey, however, also begins. Cruci. Aye, him and more. This debt cannot be settled overnight. If he is to keep a tight leash on your kingdom, we need to entice him with a prospect of growth. But fear not, after all, you have me. I can offer you guidance, you know, experience in the direction that comes with it. Set your goals, focus your attention. It's better to work towards something concrete, don't you think? I suppose you're right.
Here, your tasks will be.
Well, let's see. Your objectives for the next 2 months shall be... So, this is part of Chapter 1. We have to complete 5 or more kingdom quests. Your deadline for these objectives are Sunday, the 28th, accent. So, 51 days from now. Objectives updated. Well, what are you waiting for? Get to it. Chop chop. As the experienced ex-head of the House Lorien, the grandfather decides to aid Kay by focusing the young ruler's efforts, receiving the first of many bi-monthly objective sets. Kay begins his struggle against debt and time. Party has leveled up. You've unlocked Kingdom Quest. Okay, let's show you guys the last few things. So this is our characters. Our main character here. So we have these slots. And we have some basic ones. Quick thinking, which increases initiative, which allows us to go sooner. Vitality is health. Brawler is damage. And then there are these special ones. They are obtained for other characters. They are obtained mostly through getting them to like you more and then doing a special quest for them. Loud and clear. Command can now be used regardless of line of sight to the target. But one thing you need to pay attention to is the number right up there on the top. Right now we have 2 free slots. So we can pick 2 of these, or we can take just loud and clear. As you can see, it ties up the other one. And of course, there's equipment and trinkets. Let's get that flashy goggles in. Here we have Griffith. So he doesn't have anything special, so we're just going to give him health and damage. Then we have Signy. Nothing special for her. We'll give her vitality and initiative, just to make sure that she's always extra fast. Because see, her total initiative is already 30, whereas 20 and 24. Let's see. So we also have our inventory, which tells us gemstones and that, and the amount of money we have. Quests, Rude Awakening, In Search of the Beast. So these are regular quests, and then we have the kingdom quests, which these are what we need to do to complete the objectives for this month. So we can complete any 5 in here. Reach party level 5. These are the clearing the dungeons. These are constructions, so constructing buildings and upgrading buildings. Upgrade a building thrice, upgrade 3 buildings twice. Inhabitants. So this is to get to a certain friendliness level with characters and groups. I will show you those groups in a second. And then we have crafting, which is just craft a certain number of certain quality items or potions once you get to that point. And then objectives, activities, which for right now is just fishing. I will show you guys that in a little bit. So here we have the personal bond section. In here we can see getting to acquaintance, buddy, friend, confidant, and admirer gives us special ones of those abilities we got. For instance, if we get to the first one with Griffith, we get we get a morph for Perfect Strike. We get a morph called Perfect Strikes. It takes the pinpoint strike, his base attack, now cannot miss or be dodged. However, it no longer applies the Sundered. So it makes it so that no matter what, that attack will always hit, which is a good thing to fall back on, especially since he's our big tough guy. But it does mean that we always have to go through their armor. And you can see everyone else here. Every Haxun, our merchant, for ones like him, that aren't party members. They're locked behind certain objectives like this. We have to upgrade the house of this character to unlock the next level. For this one, it's just build them a house. For these, it's actually upgrade the house. Shoji Shiro grants an additional fishing attempt during a fishing day. Unlock a perk. Bulwark increases. So yeah, as you guys, in case you guys haven't figured out, there's obviously fishing, and he actually increases stuff for our fishing. Increases chances of finding fish and items during a fishing day. It increases chances. Then we have Lilica. Increases dialect gain from all sources by 5%, and so on and so forth. Obviously, we have to upgrade her building, and obviously, and this also applies to her dad as well. So it's actually both of them together. But of course, it's the little story quests are just for one. It's not both. And then we have Signy. And just to give you personal bond ready to level up. Spend time with the character to improve this bond. So that's basically one of the little side stories. Most of the time they don't involve combat. I haven't come across one yet, but I don't know exactly. So if we go and spend some time with her, we unlock this morph called Instinctive Motions. Pounce no longer requires the landing spot to be within Signy's line of sight. So even if something's in her way, we can still use Pounce to get over it, which is a very useful skill. In here we have the town. This shows us the resources we have. This can be restricted by clicking on the chest in Castle Lauren. The resources we have, the things we have, and what they give us, or what's needed, allows you to take up to 6 party members when venturing into the wild. So if we upgrade the town square, we get bring one more person with us, but it needs all these components and everything. Pier is a good one, or at least I think it is, because it allows you to fish for goodies. Interact with the fishing spot after upgrading to trigger a fishing day, and so on and so forth. Merchant's house, Pathfinder study, smithy, alchemist's lab, and prospector's safe house. So those are all the different things that we can build. But for instance, let's take a look at the merchants. Let's see. So these are the resources that it would cost. But actually, let's go to the smithy. Unlocks Gunther the blacksmith. Gunther can craft weapons in his smithy. One thing it's not saying here is that you have to have the person with you. So each of these people will show up in your town eventually as you move along. But you can't build the building without them already being in the town. Now, this next one, remember how I said there's 4 characters, but you can't get all of them. There's 4 special characters, but you can't get all of them. That's what these 2 are for. Lordamar and Shadu are basically opposite ends of each other. And you have to get their reputation level up to 4 for any of these guys to get the person. But you can't get the person for Lordamar and Shendu or Alfmir and the Empire. You can't get all 4. As far as I know, you can't get all 4 because getting really good with the other person requires pissing off. With one group requires pissing off the other. So, something you may want to look into is what each of these groups gives you. Because you're only going to be able to get one of them to max. You may be able to get the other to maybe level 2 here, but you're not going to be able to get, but I severely doubt you're going to be able to get every person. So she's like technology, she's agents of mystery. Times are changing, crumbling, the empire's level, Diplomat / Inquisitor will not pull any punches. And then here you have this person, a Pirate King. You get the Pirate King himself to come and join you. Or here, stubborn like an ox and crotchety like a quarter note. The venerable Mifune of the Dragonfly clan has personally raised at least 3 generations of emperors. Though he may be a bit hard to get along with, his martial prowess remains second to none. And then finally up here, we have the Codex. Creation myth, Griffith, Haxun, Merchant Prince, Merchant Princedoms. What the fuck? Okay. Common Count and the Long Rider, and obviously this will fill up more as we go along. So just one last note, if you see a exclamation point above someone's head, that means that you can interact with them. And of course there's a lot more things to do around here. We can rest for the day, take a look at the family tree, go to town, go to the armory. We don't have any diplomatic missives right now. So these are basically what I was telling you before, where you have to choose one side or the other. So that's something else you're going to have to take care of, but that is, as far as I can tell, quite far along. And of course right here in the town, if you click on the chest, you go to the town, and here you can choose to upgrade stuff. Like I said, right now these are locked because you need first to recruit the blacksmith or the prospector or the pathfinder or the alchemist. And we don't actually have enough components to upgrade that. So that is it, everyone. That is Regalia of Men and Monarchs. The first hour and 45 minutes. I didn't expect it to go that long, in all honesty. But like I said, I wanted to make sure that I showed you all, gave you all a good idea of what kind of game you're in, of what kind of game you'll be playing. I hope that you guys will all support, Pixelated Milk and help them to do this. As I said, this game is currently on Steam for $25, and as I've also said, this game is was actually a Kickstarter. So, and it was done by, I think, around a lot. You know, I'm not even going to say number because I know I'm going to be overestimating, but a lot of people really like this game, and so do I. So anyway, this is Redgamemaster signing out, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.